No. No, you didn't say. What's today? Super Bowl. Who cares about the Super Bowl? No. You know what the Super Bowl means? It means 1 week from NASCAR, people. That's right. NASCAR is back next Sunday, a week from today. The Super Bowl, no one cares about the Super Bowl. I'm kidding. People care about the Super Bowl, but NASCAR is more important, for sure. Most loved sport on the planet, not a question asked about it. 1 week from today is the Daytona 500. Just a few days from now, actually on Thursday, is the Daytona Duels, where we will see where the qualifying positions will be for that. But we're not going to talk about only the Daytona 500 today. We're not going to talk about just a few races today. We're going to talk about the whole 2022 NASCAR Cup Series season. We're going to look at the schedule. We're going to look at some of the new tracks, the changes to the playoff schedule. We're going to look at some of the new drivers, the new teams. We're going to look at some of the changes that have happened. There have been some changes, guys going to different teams. We're going to see a brand new race car. We have a lot to talk about today. So this is it, the 2022 full season preview, and then also I will give you some predictions. So let's look at it. The first thing we're going to look at is the next gen car. This car has been highly anticipated for a couple of years now. It was supposed to debut last year, but stupid COVID happened, and yeah, no one likes COVID. And so yeah, it pushed it back to 2022, and there's some crunches still. It's gonna be close. There's limited supplies and stuff. The Coliseum, we saw that being talked about, but the next gen car is indeed here. We are going to see it this season. Brand new car, new almost everything. I mean, literally everything. It's a new chassis, it's a new body. Heck, even the wheels are new. There's only one lug nut now. You name it, there's a new gearbox. There's a new, everything about this car is new. There's even a digital rear view mirror if you want that option. That is how new and innovative, I guess that's the word, this car is. So let's look at some of the changes. I got a whole notebook today, guys. I got like 4 pages of notes of what we're going to talk about. Let's look at the next gen car, some of the things I'm going to talk about. So usually the teams used to be able to buy whatever they wanted for new parts and stuff. Now all the teams get the same parts, so that's new. This word's going to be talked about a lot this year. I won't say it too many times because you're genuinely going to hear it so much this year. It's not even going to be how many times you hear this word, but these cars are going to have composite bodies, which means, like, you know, they're pieced together and they're a little bit more durable. So yeah, that's going to be new. You know, you could bump someone on the door and they might cut a tire, they get damaged. Whereas this, it's going to take a little bit more than just a slight door ding to cut down your tire. Let's see, some of the other changes are going to be, there's going to be bigger wheels, single lug nut, as we said. So that's going to change some things because of a single lug nut. That means new lug nut, what are they called? Pit guns for the teams, for the pit crews. They're going to have to use those. It's going to change that dynamic up a little bit, but the time should be a little closer than expected. You know, other racing series that we see single lug nuts, like F1, IndyCar, it's not going to be anywhere as quick as F1 because they have about 20 guys out there at once, and yeah, that's not going to be like that. But IndyCar, they kind of do similar to NASCAR, I want to say, with the pit stops, but obviously with refueling and stuff, it's still going to take some time, and then, but yeah, that's enough on the single lug nut. The sequential gear shifter, we now have 5 gears instead of 4. It used to just be the 4 forward gears, reverse, neutral. But now we're going to have 5, and it's not going to be an H pattern shifter anymore. It's going to be sequential, so you're just going to go click. It's like click, click, click versus you know, that's the best way I can describe it. That really is. Let's see, the package that will be used this year, heavily debated over the past couple of years, is the package. It's a 4-inch spoiler this year and 670 horsepower for all tracks except for the super speedways. So Talladega, Daytona, and I think Atlanta is still TBD. They completely redid Atlanta. We'll talk about that. But yes, and then obviously the biggest change of them all, the most intense heated debates that we have seen, and the biggest change to the race cars that are going to change the way they race, that's going to change the way that the drivers drive the car, and it's going to change the way you look at the car because it's just that big of a difference. The number placement. That's a joke. It's literally just like moved up. Sometimes it's really ugly. Sometimes it actually looks good. I personally thought it was fine where it was, but NASCAR changed it. I don't want to get to that debate again, but I just thought it'd be funny to make that seem like a big deal. We're getting off track. Now let's go to the next part of our talk show thing. But yeah, that's the next gen car. There are a lot of changes with this car. Drivers have talked about it. They've been testing it for months now. So hopefully it does good. Hopefully it races well. It's supposed to do really good on the road courses and short tracks. That's what it's more designed towards, and that's what the schedule is going towards. Speaking of, we have some scheduling changes. Let's look at the new track first. We only had 2 new tracks this season, and one of them has already been used for the Busch Clash. That was the LA Coliseum. What a race, what a weekend for NASCAR. The only new racetrack this year will be Gateway Worldwide Technology Raceway, just outside of St. Louis, 1.25 mile track, kind of an egg-shaped oval, not exactly like Darlington, but it's a little bit flatter than Darlington. Obviously, the track length is almost the same. I think Darlington's longer by just a little bit, maybe 0.08 of a mile or something. But yeah, obviously that's the most comparable, and it's not even similar to Darlington in the way it races. The trucks have been going there for a number of years. IndyCar has gone there for a number of years. 1 and 2 are different than 3 and 4. I mean, there's not much else on the new tracks that we have to talk about because there's only one. Last year we saw a lot of new tracks. We saw Nashville, Circuit of the Americas, Road America. Those tracks are actually making a return this year, but we do not have as many new tracks as we saw last year. So very short segment right there. But yeah, that's the new track, the one single new track. Once we get to the playoffs, I'll tell you the new playoff schedule, so stick around for that. But next, we're going to go to some new race teams. That's right. Last year, we saw some big new teams with 2311 and Trackhouse. We also saw Live Fast Motorsports. This year we have some new teams, not as big as, Michael Jordan or Pitbull-owned teams, but there are some big names behind some of these teams or even in the car. Team Heseberg, driven by 2 drivers for the Daytona 500. It will be 1997 Formula One World Champion Jacques Villeneuve. And then also Loris Hezemans. He's a Euro Series champion. And this team is owned by a Dutch investor and I believe a couple other people. It's going to be number 27. It's going to be a Ford. Part-time schedule, so we won't see them competing for a playoff spot or a championship, but it is a fun team, especially when you got a big name in the car like Jacques Villeneuve. Then we have the team that we thought was coming a couple of years ago. Then they didn't. But now they're officially coming to the Cup Series, and they are also going to be on a part-time schedule. That is the Money Team, driven by Kaz Grala, owned by none other than Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Money Mayweather. He will punch you in the face. Because he's a boxer, he gets paid to punch people in the face, so it's okay when he's in the ring. Anyways, that's going to be an interesting team and a good driver, I have to say. Kaz Grala, he has a couple top 10s in the Cup Series, and he only has 3 or 4 starts, so he could if something happened, he could compete maybe for a top 5, top 10 in that car, assuming they give him a decent enough car. The next one, it's kind of a new team, but also it's an old team that merged together. Petty GMS. GMS was a truck team. They still are a truck team, I believe, but they decided to move up to the Cup Series. Something else we forgot to mention with the next-gen car is it cuts down the cost of the car. Initially, it's going to cost a lot of money, but after that, it should cut down the cost for these team owners for these teams so that more teams can be more competitive. But we see that Petty and GMS made a merger. It used to be Petty Motorsports, of course. Richard Petty, iconic NASCAR driver, arguably the greatest of all time, 7-time champion, the King. He owned Petty Motorsports Richard Petty Racing, whatever it was called, and now GMS, who wanted to go to the Cup Series, is merging with them, and they have 2 drivers in the number 42. It will be Ty Dillon, and the number 43, it's going to be Eric Jones. Eric Jones had been in the 43 for Richard Petty Motorsports last year, so he gets to stay in his ride, and GMS has signed on Ty Dillon, but that is the merger there. Now we're going to talk about some of the big changes in the NASCAR Cup Series in terms of the drivers and team lineups. Some big moves were made over the offseason, or over last season when the opening was, and there have been some small changes, but we're going to talk about those. Kaulig Racing now has 2 charters. One of them will be driven full-time by 2019 Cup winner Justin Haley. Haley has competed for Kaulig in the Xfinity Series for a good number of years now. Made it to the championship 4 a couple of years ago. He's won some races in the Xfinity Series. Obviously, he got that win in 2019 at Daytona for Spire Motorsports in the Cup Series, but they're looking to have a potential shot at the playoffs. And last year, Kaulig Racing won a Cup Series race with A.J. Allmendinger at the Indianapolis Road Course. So they give him a good enough car. Haley's proven he's a really good super speedway racer, but also a good race car driver overall. They give him a competitive car. We could see Justin Haley competing for a playoff spot potentially, or for some race wins. Then in the second car, it will be rotated between 3 drivers, 3 Xfinity drivers. Defending Xfinity champion Daniel Hemrick, Noah Gragson, and 2021 Cup Series Indy Road Course winner A.J. Allmendinger. Now, all 3 of those guys will be competing for the championship in the Xfinity Series, so we will not see them competing for a Cup Series championship, but we will see them in the Cup Series competing for wins, competing for top 5s, top 10s, wherever they may be. So yes, those 3 will split the second car. The next one is Front Row Motorsports. The 38 will now be driven by Todd Gilliland, and it is a rotating car of rookies. 2 years ago, we saw John Hunter Nemechek in this car in his rookie season, and he ended up leaving to go back to the trucks to go to a more competitive ride. That being at, well, Kyle Busch Motorsports. He won a lot of races last year, made it to the championship 4. And then last year we saw Anthony Alfredo in the car, and he is now back in the Xfinity Series. So Todd Gilliland, who was in the Truck Series for a number of years, and in fact, I think he was in Front Row's Truck Series team, he has made the jump to the Cup Series. He will be alongside defending Daytona 500 winning Michael McDowell at Front Row. So that is a change there. Rick Ware Racing now has an alliance with Stewart Haas Racing. How will that make them go? They have been the meme of NASCAR because they're so slow. They get lapped. They cause cautions when they're running 47 laps down. They have been the meme of NASCAR. There's been tons of jokes about them. But how will they do this season? Will this SHR alliance really make a difference? How fast can they go? I personally don't think they'll compete for a playoff spot or anything, but I think they will take a big step forward in this alliance. But golly, I would love to see Rick Ware win a race. That would be absolutely amazing. The memes would be legendary. Anyways, that is a big storyline that could potentially be something, but I really don't think it will be. Brad Keselowski is now a co-owner of Roush Fenway, now RFK Racing. He will be driving the number 6. This is probably the biggest move that happened from last year to this year. Keselowski had driven with Team Penske for, I want to say over a decade, so quite a long time. He won a championship with them in 2012. He won over 30 races with them. I mean, Keselowski and Penske together, that was an iconic duo in the number 2 car. And then Keselowski decided to leave Team Penske, and he decided to go to Roush Fenway. And Roush Fenway hasn't been great over the past few years, but apparently in that deal was that Keselowski would become a part owner of the team. And it started to make sense why he was leaving Team Penske for Roush Fenway, and they are now RFK. It'll be interesting to see how they do in the next-gen car, to see if they improve there. Last year was not their greatest year with Buescher and Ryan Newman, but the year before, Ryan Newman did make the playoffs on points with Roush Fenway Racing, so hoping they can get back to that maybe, or maybe even the glory days when they were competing for championships, but I don't think it's going to be that quick of a change just by getting Brad Keselowski. I think some bigger steps are going to be needed to be made, and yeah, that's one step to getting a championship caliber race car driver. And of course, with Brad Keselowski leaving Team Penske, that opened the door at Team Penske. Austin Cindric is stepping in that car, and well-deserved. Cindric was supposed to be in the number 21 last year, but with Keselowski's departure, it allowed Cindric to just skip the 21 car altogether and go straight to the Team Penske number 2, and I think it's deserved. He's won an Xfinity Series championship. He's competed for another. He almost won back-to-back, but he lost in a photo finish to Daniel Hemrick. But he's won tons of Xfinity races. He's actually had some Cup Series races where he's run really well. He's led some laps on some of the road courses. He is a very talented driver, and I think he deserves that 2 car. How's he going to do this year? We will see. Ross Chastain to Trackhouse Racing. Trackhouse only had Daniel Suarez last year. They're hoping to take a step forward. There was that huge deal where Trackhouse not even merged. They bought out Chip Ganassi Racing, purchased the charter, purchased the facilities, purchased everything from him. Chip Ganassi Racing is no more. Ross Chastain is at Trackhouse now. He will be driving the number 1. So he will be teammates with Daniel Suarez. How will he do this year? Next up, speaking of Chip Ganassi Racing, their other driver from last year, Kurt Busch, he will be moving to 2311 Racing. He will be teammates with Bubba Wallace. 2311, just like Trackhouse, will be expanding to a 2-car team. Kurt Busch, the 2004 champion, will now be at 2311. He has driven every manufacturer in NASCAR, at least modern day, I want to say. Ford, Dodge, Toyota, this is Toyota, and Chevy. So Kurt Busch has gone everywhere. He's improved every team he's seen, so they're hoping that he can help that team improve. 2311, of course, got that win at Talladega last year with Bubba Wallace, but trying to make the playoffs this year. Then, of course, we have another rookie with Harrison Burton going to the number 21, replacing Matt DiBenedetto. But Harrison Burton to the Wood Brothers car after it was announced that Keselowski was leaving. Cindric went ahead and went to the 2, and that opened up the slot for the 21 car. The Wood Brothers opted to sign Harrison Burton. So, with that being said, it is time for some predictions. Let's do some predicting. First up, we're going to do some of the majors of NASCAR. Every year I do this. I predict the majors, and I predict the new tracks. One of the new tracks has already happened, so I can't re-predict that. Actually, I am. I think Joey Logano is going to win the Clash. Bam, there you go. But as for the Daytona 500, you'll see my pick for that next week, so go ahead and look forward to that when I do my Daytona 500 preview. As for the other majors, I actually didn't write this down. I'm doing this off the top of my head. We got the Coca-Cola 600 in May. Who is going to win that one? That is a great question. I'm going to go with Kevin Harvick because Kevin Harvick is really good. And the 600, he's won it a couple times. So why not Kevin Harvick? Kevin Harvick wins 600. As for the other majors, the Southern 500, let's go with Kyle Larson. He's gotten really close quite a few times. Kyle Larson, he can win everywhere in any race car. I think he finally wins at Darlington. He got really close last year, and probably before that. He's gotten really close, but I think he wins the Southern 500. And then it used to be the Brickyard 400, so we'll do the Bristol Night Race for that sub. Bristol Night Race, Kyle Busch, because Kyle Busch is really good at Bristol. So those are my major picks for the major races in NASCAR, the crown jewels, if you will. But yeah, if there's any other races you want me to pick right now, put them down in the comments, and I will guess. I will do my best guessing months in advance. Anyways, I got some playoff predictions here. You want to see them? You want to see them? Let's look at them. 16 spots in the NASCAR playoffs. Who's going to make them? I got some locks. Some guys who I am very confident will make the playoffs, and I would be quite shocked if they did not make it. Last year, my playoff predictions, I think I got 14 out of 16 correct, and the 2 I got wrong were Reddick and Briscoe, and instead it was McDowell and Almirola. So hopefully I can do better this year. There's room for improvement, so hopefully I can do that. But this year, it could be unpredictable. It could be some weird, wacky race winners. There's a lot of changes that have happened with the cars and stuff, so I could be 0 for 16. That's a possibility. I hope that's not the case, but let's look at who I have locked into the NASCAR playoffs. Let's look at this. I have 11 guys in this locked category. Surprisingly, 11. That is the 4 Hendrick Motorsports drivers of Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott, William Byron, and Alex Bowman. The 4 Joe Gibbs Racing drivers of Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin, Martin Truex Jr., Christopher Bell, Joey Logano, Ryan Blaney, and the 11th lock is Kevin Harvick. Those are the 11 guys I am very confident will make the playoffs. Those are the top teams. The top teams are going to rise to the top. That's the fact of the matter. I mean, you may change the rules, you may change the car, you may change the parts, the supplier of the parts, but the best teams are usually going to still be the best teams. There's a reason they're the best. So I expect the best teams to still be on the top. I expect these drivers with the best teams to still make the playoffs with no stress, no problems. So those are the 11. As for the final 5 spots, spots 12 through 16, I kid you not, I have 14 guys written down. 14 drivers for 5 playoff spots. That means I have 25 contenders for 16 playoff spots this year. And that's not even including some of the wild card things, like a wacky race winner, a surprise winner like Michael McDowell last year. So the possibilities here are quite stunning. They really are. Let's look through them. I'm just going to list them, and then we'll talk about them. Tyler Reddick, Austin Dillon, Justin Haley, Brad Keselowski, Chris Buescher, Austin Cindric, Chase Briscoe, Cole Custer, Eric Almirola, Ross Chastain, Daniel Suarez, Kurt Busch, Bubba Wallace, Harrison Burton. Those are the guys I have for those last 4 spots. So let's look at who's going to be in there. The first one I want to put in is Tyler Reddick. Tyler Reddick, I think this is going to be his breakout year. He's shown in the past couple of years how good he is. He's a 2-time Xfinity Series champion. He's come close to winning some races in the Cup Series, has competed for wins. This year, I think, is the year he gets it done, and I don't think it happens once. I think it happens 2 or 3 times. I think he gets 2 or 3 wins this year. I think RCR gives him a capable car. He's a very talented driver. I think Tyler Reddick is in the playoffs with wins. I think he makes the playoffs on wins, plural. So Tyler Reddick, put him in. That's a lock. I thought about putting him in the automatic, but he missed it last year. And no, did he make it? Yeah, he made it last year. Yeah, he made it on points. So anyways, I think he makes it. He was on the bubble last year. But yeah, I think Reddick makes it. Next up, this one, I consider putting it a lock because of the team, but he is still a rookie, so we can't quite lock him in. But Austin Cindric. Cindric's a very talented driver, and he's going to one of the best teams in the Cup Series. I don't expect him to severely struggle. I expect him to be up front competing for wins pretty quickly, especially with all the road courses and considering how good he is at road courses. I expect him to be competing for wins at road courses. So Austin Cindric, I expect him to make the playoffs with his 2 Penske teammates. He'll be in. Next up, I'm going to have a 23-11 driver in the playoffs this year, but it might not be the one you expect. I think Kurt Busch makes the playoffs. Kurt Busch, he's a champion. He's improved every team he's been to over the past few years. The guy can drive a race car. I mean, he's a Cup champion. Come on now. But I think we saw 23-11 at the peak last year. At their best moments, they could compete for race wins. In fact, they won a race. So I think that is definitely a possibility. But we did see growing pains there for sure where they struggled. They were probably a 17th to 20th place car last year, but they did have their moments where they showed speed. They did have their moments where they were in the top 10 based off pure speed, and I think Kurt Busch can take full advantage of that. I think he makes the playoffs. Next up, this one might surprise some people, but I think Ross Chastain makes the playoffs. Chastain is a really good race car driver, and last year on the road courses especially, he impressed me. He led laps. He was in the top 5. To this day, I'm going to say this as many times as I can. If that race at Coda doesn't get shortened by the rain, I think Ross Chastain wins. I really do. Everyone said Kyle Larson, and yeah, that's understandable. He was arguably the best car that day. That's why I say arguably, because I would argue that Chastain was better that day. I think he had a better car. I think he was driving better. He was in the top 5 all day. If Chastain can have that kind of car and race like that on a road course or somewhere else, I think Chastain can get into the playoffs with a win. That's right. Ross Chastain in the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs. Trackhouse's first playoff appearance. So, I got the 2 new guys for 23-11 in Trackhouse making it over the old guys. Yep, that's right. Next up for the 16th and final playoff spot. Who's it going to be? Is it going to be Austin Dillon, a 3-time Cup Series winner? Is it going to be Justin Haley, a Cup Series winner? Is it going to be NASCAR champion, now owning a team, Brad Keselowski? Is it going to be Aric Almirola in his final season? Is it going to be Daniel Suarez or Bubba Wallace, 2 young guys with new teams trying to lead their team to the playoffs? Or will it be someone else? Let's find out. For the 16th and the final spot in the 2022 playoffs, according to me, it's going to be Chase Briscoe. I struggled with these last couple of spots, but especially this last one. But Chase Briscoe, he has shown that he is a very good race car driver, and I think Stewart-Haas is going to be better this year. Stewart-Haas Racing struggled last year. They only had 1 win, and it came from Aric Almirola. That was a shocker. But I think they come back to being a good team, one of the top teams again. And I think it's Briscoe getting into the playoffs. Will it be a win? It could be. He's a good road course racer. He's a good short track racer. And if they give him the car, he could win almost everywhere. So I think Briscoe gets into the playoffs. I think he's going to take that final spot in the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs. But yeah, it was a tough one this year coming up with these playoffs. I mean, I thought last year was tough, and I think I had 22 guys around that area for the last 6 spots. Well, this year, oh boy, I had 14 drivers for 5 spots, and it was tough to pick that, let me tell you. So, in conclusion, my 16 guys in the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs in 2022, Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson, William Byron, Alex Bowman, Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin, Martin Truex Jr., Christopher Bell, Joey Logano, Ryan Blaney, Kevin Harvick, Tyler Reddick, Austin Cindric, Kurt Busch, Raj Chastain, and Chase Briscoe. Those are the 16. So what's up next, you may ask, in this very long video, but that's what a full season preview is. It's a long video. We're going to talk about the Final Four. But before we talk about the Final Four, let's look at the NASCAR Cup Series playoff schedule. That's right. Now that we have our 16 playoff guys, we have to know where they're going to be racing, where they're going to be competing to advance to the championship. So let's look at it. The first 3 races in the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs will be Darlington, the Southern 500. Kansas is now in the first round, and it's the second race in the first round. And Bristol will remain as the cutoff race in the round of 16. Then we have Texas as the opening race in the round of 12. That is a new slot for Texas. We have Talladega as the middle race and the Roval as the cutoff race for the round of 12. Those 2 stay in their same places. Then we go to the round of 8, and this one is completely different. Las Vegas is now in the round of 8. Homestead Miami makes its return to the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs as the middle race in the round of 8. And then we have Martinsville once again as the cutoff and Phoenix as the championship. So, speaking of the championship at Phoenix, who is going to win the NASCAR Cup Series championship? First, we have to figure out who's going to be in the championship 4. So, the championship 4 is 4 drivers. I know, shocking. Championship 4, 4 drivers. Wow, stunning. Oh my gosh. Anyways, here are the 4 guys I have in the championship 4. Number 1, defending NASCAR Cup Series champion Kyle Larson will once again make the Final Four. Why? Look at what he did last year. His first year in Hendrick Motorsports equipment, he obliterated the field. 10 wins, 11 if you include the All-Star race. Led a record number of laps. He won a ton of stages. Won the regular season championship after storming back from over 100 points down on Denny Hamlin. They won everywhere. Phoenix, road courses, mile and a halves. They won everywhere. It was amazing. It was stunning to watch. Like, his first year in Hendrick Motorsports equipment. His first year. Now we are in a brand new car, sure, but it's Kyle Larson. He's a very talented race car driver. I think he makes the Final Four. Next up, speaking of Wheelman, Kyle Busch. He has been absent from the Final Four since his 2019 championship winning season. I think he makes it this year. You know, he hasn't been as good as he usually is the past couple of seasons, but with a brand new car, you're going to need a wheel man. Kyle Busch is a wheel man. Joe Gibbs is one of the best teams in NASCAR. I think Kyle Busch makes a reappearance into the Final Four. It's been a few years, but I think he gets back to the Final Four. For the next spot, well, according to math, he's going to make it. So I'm going to stick with math here. He only makes it on even number years, 2014, 2016, 2018, 2020. Well, he doesn't make it in 2015, 2017, 2019, 2021. So he's bound to make it. Joey Logano. I think he makes the Final Four. I'm sticking with the math, yes, because, I mean, truly it is incredible how he only makes the Final Four on even numbered years. But also, you know, he's got a pretty momentous start to 2022 by winning the Clash at the Coliseum. But also he's Joey Logano. He's a Cup Series champion. He's won a ton of races in his career. He's a really good race car driver. For the fourth and final spot, I think this is going to shock some of you guys. Some of you it may not. Some of you it will, though. I think the fourth and final spot for the Championship 4 for my 2022 NASCAR Cup Series predictions, Ryan Blaney. I think Blaney has another breakout year, and I think he makes it to the Championship 4 for the first time. He's made the round of 8 numerous times. He's in one of the best cars. He had struggled to get multiple wins for years, but last year he finally broke the curse, and he had 3 wins last year. He had back-to-back, in fact, at Michigan and Daytona, but Blaney, he was only getting 1 win a year at Team Penske, which was a little upsetting, I will say. But last year, he finally showed what he could do. He won multiple races. He made it to the round of 8. He's made it to the round of 8 before. I think he made it to the round of 8 with the Wood brothers. But I think Blaney finally breaks through and makes it to the Final Four, gets a few wins next year. So that is my Final Four. Kyle Larson, Kyle Busch, Joey Logano, and Ryan Blaney. 2 Penske guys and 2 Kyles. So that leads to the next question. And that question is, who will get one of these next year? Who's going to get a hat that says NASCAR Cup Series champion and will be wearing it on the stage at Phoenix? So I got some hats here. That's right. You guys know me. I got hats. I did some hat changes today for the first time in a while. But who's it going to be? Who will be the champion in 2022? We look at this first one. Kyle Larson. Can he be the first driver in NASCAR Cup Series history to go back-to-back in the elimination format of the playoffs? It has never been done. We've seen repeat winners. Kyle Busch in 2015, 2019, but we've never seen back-to-back. Can Kyle Busch get his 3rd championship? Can he get it? Can he? He would be an elite company. He would be with Tony Stewart in that category. He'd be with, I want to say Cale Yarborough's got 3. I mean, it would be quite elite company that Kyle Busch would be in. Can he get his 3rd? Can he come back? After 2 not-so-Kyle Busch seasons, could he come back and win a championship? Could Joey Logano become a 2-time champion? Logano beat the Big 3 in 2018. Well, could he come back in 2022 and potentially beat everyone, I guess? Who knows? Then we got Ryan Blaney. Ryan Blaney looking for his first Cup Series championship. We have seen the last 2 champions of the Cup Series make their first Championship 4 appearance and win. In 2020, it was Chase Elliott making his first Final Four appearance, and he won the championship in Phoenix. Then in 2021, we saw Kyle Larson make his first Championship 4 appearance in Phoenix, and he won it. Will Ryan Blaney continue that streak of being the first Championship 4 appearance in Phoenix and winning it? Well, I got a hat here, and it's my decision. So, here we go. The 2022 NASCAR Cup Series champion will be none other than Kyle Larson. That's right. Kyle Larson is going to win his 2nd consecutive NASCAR Cup Series championship. Why, you may ask? It's got to end at some point. I mean, we've had so many years of this format. We have yet to see a back-to-back champion, and I feel like if someone were to do it, it would be Kyle Larson. We saw how good he was last year. We know how good he is in a race car. Brand new car, and it seems like Hendrick Motorsports always wins in the new cars. They won the first championship of the car tomorrow. They won the first championship of the Gen 6. I mean, Hendrick Motorsports is one of the best teams of all time, and Kyle Larson is a very talented race car driver. So, yeah, Kyle Larson, he's my 2022 champion. Here's my sheet of playoff picks, and there's the champion circled on the top. But that's it. My full 2022 preview, predictions, the whole thing. So, yeah. I love making these. I love doing full season previews and predictions. My predictions, they're going to be very wrong. We're going to be in November rewatching this video saying, oh my gosh, look at this idiot and how wrong he was. Or we're going to be saying, oh my gosh, he's not completely stupid. So, to future me, hello, hi, tell me if I'm dumb, tell me if I'm stupid, tell me if I actually got something right. But, yeah. It's going to be a fun year. Brand new car, some new tracks, some new teams. I'm looking forward to it. Let me know what your predictions are for 2022. I know this was a long one, but we had to get everything in. So once again, hope you enjoyed this. Leave a like if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel. We finally hit 1.5 of 1,500 subscribers. So woo, thank you for that. But have a great day. Enjoy the Super Bowl tonight. Hopefully this video